Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on disneyplus.com. It's Thursday, it's time for a quick Disney Plus News Roundup, where I'm going to be talking about is there a problem with National Geographic content arriving and leaving Disney Plus. We're also going to be talking about the Muppets Mayhem trailer, the Creator trailer. Also going to be talking about some of today's new arrivals. But before we do any of that, just a quick bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe here on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook and audio platforms. Give us a like as well, that really helps. And let's jump into it. Okay, so let's kick things off with something a bit fun. So let's talk about the Muppets Mayhem, which is coming to Disney Plus around the world on May the 10th. We're getting the entire series at once. The trailer kind of shows off the gang kind of trying to put together their new album, because they never actually ever put together an album, even because they got a little bit distracted by the 1980s. We see lots of special guests in here. You see like Tommy Lee, we've also got Kevin Smith, a whole host of different people, which are going to make this one a little bit fun. Sometimes this can work, sometimes it can't. We're going to have to wait and see. The trailer definitely improved my anticipation for the series. Going to be checking that one out. But yes, it seems alright. I'm still like a bit like this on it, but let me know if you're excited about the new Muppets series in the comments below. Disney Searchlight Pictures has announced that it's delayed the upcoming film Next Go Wins. Is now going to be coming out on the 17th of November. It was going to come out in September. It actually was going to come out this month, but it keeps getting pushed back. We also got a brand new poster for this one, which looks fantastic, with the bus behind some luscious mountains and stuff. This film follows the terrible American Samoa soccer team, who are known for their brutal 2021 FIFA match in which they lost 31-0. And it was then featured in a documentary, and that was then been turned into this film, which is being directed by Taika Waititi, and it also stars Michael Fassbender. Obviously, it's a shame to see it pushed back, but Disney are kind of moving things around a little bit more, and I think spreading out these Searchlight films is obviously not a bad thing. But obviously now with it moving into November, means we're not going to be seeing it on streaming until way into 2024. It's obviously disappointing, but let me know if you're looking forward to this film in the comments below. We've also got our first look at Creator, a brand new Disney Plus original film coming to Disney Plus on the 12th of May. This trailer I think looks really interesting. You kind of got a group of kids, and they go off and steal like a moon buggy thing and head off to try and find a crater. They don't know what's in there. You're having lots of fun on the moon because some of the kids have never been on Earth. But there's one girl who has come from Earth and kind of looks at it a little bit different, which kind of will give us probably that idea of we're looking at it through her eyes. This one has been created by the people that are behind Stranger Things. I think the trailer actually did really well. I think this could have done quite well at the cinema, because it definitely feels in that level that it could do pretty good. Yeah, the trailer really sold it to me. I'm like, I've watched the trailer a couple of times now, and I'm like, yeah, this looks a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this one. Kind of got that vibe that you get from those like classic 80s films of like a group of kids just going off and kind of adventure awaiting and setting it on the moon as well. That's a little bit unique. We've not really seen that before. But yeah, let me know what you think of this one in the comments below. Let's now talk about National Geographic, because there seems to be some kind of thing going on right now with Disney Plus. Not just in the US, but kind of globally, where the brand just seems to be all over the place. Doesn't seem to be fully committed to Disney Plus. We're seeing lots of items not turning up when they announce, especially in the United States. You know, things, they announce it and then it just doesn't show up. Now they've been removing stuff. I mean, they've been removing stuff for a while, but we've seen a massive amount of bits and pieces removed lately. And now that's not uncommon. You know, we tend to see stuff being removed for a number of reasons. Contracts, you know, some of these stuff might be that nobody's watching and it's just costing them money. It might also be the fact that, you know, they only had a license to use it for a certain amount of time. But it does seem a little bit odd. It's the constant things of them not turning up and changing the release schedule and keep messing about. Now I'm hoping now, well, like with the restructuring of Disney, things can get a little bit on track. But I do feel, in honesty, of, you know, we're 3+ years into Disney Plus now, and we're still having some of these issues with the, you know, the bickering and fighting going on between linear and Disney Plus of like, pick a strategy and just keep to it. It's stop messing about. Either get it on there or don't. If you announce that it's going to be on there, put it on there. You know, things do change. Things change around. You know, there are mistakes. You know, there are issues that might come up. That's fine, but not every week with National Geographic. I do think they're going to have to do. They just need to do something. If National Geographic is the main brand, you know, put it on there. You know, they seem to be putting more and more stuff on the Hulu. I don't mind things being shared. I think that's a good idea. You know, they're doing it with a small light. You know, share it out to different platforms. More people can watch it. People that are watching on linear, you know, don't have Disney Plus. you know, I get sharing it and spreading out the costs and all the rest of it. That, I don't have a problem with that. But if you've got a National Geographic hub on Disney Plus, it should have everything in there. And not siphoning off all the mature stuff off the Hulu because you're still a little bit... It's like, are we really still doing this stuff? It just feels very unnecessary that this problem is still here 3.5 years after its launch, that we seem to be going backwards on National Geographic content. You know, you can put stuff on there that's got mature stuff because it's a documentary. You've got parental controls. Just sort it out. It just feels like, you know, they need to sort this stuff out. So it's a little bit annoying. But yeah, so it was supposed to be some Country Critters Vets show. Was supposed to arrive this week. Didn't arrive. It's been pushed back. I think it looks like it might be May. Yeah, it's just annoying that this keeps happening. And again, just you're never 100% sure. Internationally, it's a roll of a dice of when something's going to come onto Disney Plus. You just never know. They'll announce a new show, and you will just never know when it's going to turn up. If it's going to go the linear first for a few months, or if it's just going to turn up. It's just annoying, and I think they really need to get a grip much better on National Geographic and work out a global strategy and stick to it. What they're doing at the minute is all over the place. So they wouldn't be able to do this with the other brands, maybe just because it's National Geographic. You know, they think not enough people are paying attention to it, but it is becoming very noticeable that stuff is leaving Disney Plus. Things aren't arriving when it's supposed to be arriving. They're advertising. They even put it out on the social media like, this show is going to be available, and then they change it. And obviously, like I said, things do change. That's acceptable. Things do happen, but not every week. But I'd love to know your thoughts on what's going on with National Geographic. Okay, now let's shift gears entirely and start talking about Max, because Warner Brothers Discovery announced its new streaming service, or kind of a new streaming service, and they're going to be rebranding HBO Max to just Max on the 23rd of May. It's going to be bringing in lots of content from Discovery Plus. Discovery Plus is going to be staying as its own separate app. You'll still be getting content, but they view that that's profitable, and they don't want to mess it up because some people want to pay not a lot and just get that lifetime stuff. So that's good for that. So Max is going to have a whole host of new shows and new films. They announced Harry Potter is going to be around for like 10 years with a brand new series just about the book, which I don't get. Like, why not do something original, do something fresh? If you're going to use the same music with the same logo and just change the actors, well, what's the point? Getting new House of the, we're getting, I think there's some new Game of the Thrones stuff. There's the Big Bang Theory. There's the Penguin. We saw the trailer for that. So lots of stuff about HBO Max becoming Max. Now, there's a lot of talk about like getting rid of the HBO brand, and that seems to be a mistake. They're putting it over there that, you know, HBO doesn't necessarily say to people Looney Tunes or The Flash or, you know, like Discovery shows. So the HBO brand doesn't necessarily fit the streaming service as well. HBO is still going to be a big part of it, but they definitely feel like that doesn't quite fit the branding. Now, internationally, and I know it might sound a little... But HBO really isn't much of a brand outside of the US. You know, while it's been around for decades there, we only get that little clip at the beginning of a show. Here, for example, all those shows are on Sky. And you ask most people, they're probably not really going to tell you what HBO actually means. So internationally, it doesn't really have much of a brand. So the way I look at it from like a Disney point of view is essentially as if the streaming service was called FX Plus. Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be looking there for Disney Channel content, but Disney's kind of gone the other way, where they've had problems where Disney Plus, they're a little bit iffy of putting in the FX stuff and so on. So I can see it from both sides, and so I get where they're coming from. I think it probably would have been better maybe to just go on like Warner Brothers or something like that, but and if they're going to sell the company, who knows. What was interesting as well, during the presentation, they did actually show off The Banshees of Inisherin, which is a Searchlight Pictures film. In the menus, I spotted Edward Scissorhands, which was on Disney Plus in the US. I also saw the menu. This happened when they launched HBO Max because they've still got that contract. It just looks like they can still move this. They're going to be moving all that stuff over, because if you're a HBO Max subscriber, you will just get Max on the 23rd. You'll be prompted to either download the new version or it will just update depending on what it's doing. If you're Discovery Plus, you'll get a special offer, I think, to join up with it if you want to. So yeah, it was just very interesting to see them. Like, they got this big banner with Banshees of Inisherin, and it was a bit like, well, surely you'd want to promote your own films rather than promoting Searchlight Pictures. I know it obviously it's picked up a lot of awards and stuff lately, but again, even in those slides of just like, why show off those kind of films? So we are going to be having problems with content shifting over from sort of Disney Plus and Hulu over to Max. I get used to saying that. There's still going to be the same problem we've had with HBO Max and all the rest of it, but it's now just going to be called Max. So there we go. Their pricing structure, they're kind of keeping the same price, but they're introducing an Ultimate HD version, which includes full 4K. You're also getting more downloads. So yeah, so they're going to be kind of doing this thing. What was quite interesting as well was in the introduction, they spoke about the idea of having a streaming platform for everyone, having kids content, having mature stuff, having family stuff, having like again, there was a kind of a shot at the fact of there being so many streaming services and people are confused and people can't find stuff. There was that kind of feeling of like, yeah, this is really where Disney's going to come in. They've got their stuff siphoned off into different platforms like Warner Brothers Discovery. And the question is, I would love to see Disney finally get around to sorting out what they're doing in the US when they work out what's happening with Hulu. But yeah, so it's definitely interesting to see how all of this is going to come together. But let me know, are you looking forward to Max? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below and get in touch on social media. Let's look at what's new on Disney Plus today. The main big release internationally was the Kardashians Till Death Do Us Part, Kourtney and Travis. So this one here is kind of like a 70-minute special of the Kardashians. You'll actually find it in season 2 of the Kardashians on Disney Plus internationally and then on Hulu in the United States. Watched it last night with my wife. I do like the Kardashian series. I know it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I know a lot of people do not like it. This one I was not so keen on. It felt a little bit long-winded, 70-odd minutes. Just a lot of gushing over each other. There was just, I mean, they were just making out I mean, if you edited out the kissing, they'd probably lose about 20 minutes of it. It was a little bit like, okay, we get it, guys. And there's like special performances like by Machine Gun Kelly at their wedding. Now they had 3 weddings, one in Vegas, one in like LA that was like the legal one. And then they went out to Portofino in Italy and had this like just amazing thing on Dolce & Gabbana's villa on the side of the cliff. And they just massive yacht and they flew in on their private jets and they rented out a whole restaurant and it was so, and you know, all the outfits and photographers everywhere and they go, oh, this is so intimate and you know, our personal footage. Yeah, it's not really personal footage when you got like 5 cameras filming it. I'll be honest, this one really felt a little bit like, oh God, it's like just the gushing of money. And and I like the show, but this was just a little bit too much of like, really could have edited this down a little bit. It was just so over the top, so obscenely amount of money being spent. And I know we're kind of used to doing that with the Kardashians, but this one just felt like another level of like going, you know, like using a helicopter to fly in a piano on the side of the, it's like, this is not normal. It just, yeah. I don't know, it just felt very like in a cost of living crisis. I know it just seemed obscene that there was like what was happening here. And I know that, you know, they're way up, you know, they got so much money and all the rest of it. But, you know, it's like it just seemed a little bit tone deaf, a little bit of like what's going on now. It is really seeing like how the other half live. It's so far away from reality, it's unbelievable. But yeah, so I wasn't a big fan. I think I'll give this one like a 3 out of 5. If you enjoy the Kardashians, you're going to want to check it out. If you don't like the Kardashians, definitely don't check it out because it's just going to annoy you. But yeah, so that one was the big new one today. Also in Australia, the 2nd season of Single Drunk Female dropped on in Australia and in New Zealand in Disney Plus, and it's also out on Hulu in the United States. For some reason it didn't arrive when it was supposed to. There was also some like reality TV stuff that arrived today in the UK as well, which seemed a bit random, but yeah, some real weird ones. But nevertheless, let me know if you're going to be watching this new Kardashian special. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's now do our question of the day, and Royalty asks, do you think Disney Plus America needs a World Cinema Hub soon for the service? I think in order to have a World Cinema Hub, it's going to need a lot more stuff from World Cinema. Now, I do think that, you know, we're seeing a lot of international originals, especially like here outside of the US. We're getting lots of originals in Korean, Australian, Japanese, all kinds of different stuff. And we kind of got little like collections and stuff, but the Star Hub has drastically filled out with a lot of content. I do think having some more collections would really help, some different hubs. I do think that we could do it. In the US, they got to start adding this stuff. To be honest, there's no point in them doing it now because there'll probably be like 3 things in it. But hopefully at some point in the future things might change. But right now, I wouldn't really say they need it. But I think there's a whole other thing as well of having like an international original section might help. I know I've had a few people email and comment to me, you know, about starting shows and then it not being in English and then them getting like, well, why is this coming up on I do this all the time on Netflix. I'll start a show and I'm like, oh, it's subtitled or dubbed or something. And you're like, I've got to be in the right mood for that one, especially if it's subtitled. It's like if I'm kind of iffy on watching it and I'm on my phone, then you can't do it. You have to watch it with subtitles, so that's an issue. But yeah, so it's definitely a thing, but I don't think right now Disney Plus really kind of needs a world hub in the US, but I do think it does need some organisation outside of the US right now. But let me know, do you think Disney Plus needs a new hub? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Well, anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you do hit that like button as well. That really helps send a signal to YouTube that you like it. Also, same thing for Facebook. Also, you can find us on podcast services as well. And on that note, guys, big thank you also to our Patrons and YouTube channel members. Your support really does mean a lot, especially right now. And on that note, guys, thank you very much. See you guys soon. Laters.